What's going on, my favorite Ripplers? I wanted to share a story that really brought a ripple to me, and I had no idea it was coming, didn't expect it, and the fact that it showed up when it did, on the day that it did, man, it was a gift. So a couple years ago, I met someone that was tied to a venture capitalist's office. They were trying to pitch my software company as to why I should be looking to take funding. And after hearing their pitch and several follow-ups that they insisted on, we sort of decided it wasn't a good fit. I decided it wasn't a good fit. And at the time, and still to this day, was not pursuing a conversation with a venture capitalist. But one of the reps that they had sent to work on me had tried really, really hard. And I just wanted to acknowledge how much energy and effort she had put towards trying to build a relationship with me, and how that was near and dear to my heart because of this other portion of my business. And I sent her a card, and I put a personalized message on it, and I just said that I really appreciated the respect and the kindness that they showed to me when I had said I wasn't going to be moving forward. And I pointed out a few things that I was really impressed by from her approach to truly build, make a connection and try to build an authentic relationship. And I said I would love to stay in touch, not for business reasons, but just I love seeing good Ripplers be good Ripplers. And I put another inspirational message in this card. She immediately, when she got it, she was just overwhelmed. In fact, when she called me, she was almost in tears. And she said no one had ever taken the time to say such nice things to her and recognize those talents that she didn't think she was particularly strong in. And she was fascinated by the ripple. And so we left the confines of our prior connections, being my software company, and she was fully immersed in what was going on relative to the ripple and the ripple effect in my book and all those things. And she said, I just want to say, I'm really, really impressed with what you're doing and how you're doing it, and your approach to how you leverage these two entities that you've created to support similar interests or support one another by leveraging the power of the ripple in my Owner Insight software business and the power of what Owner Insight does to a project team, but a team in general, as an example for how you inform and teach and educate with the ripple effect. And we just had this great interaction. A couple of months later, she reached back out to me and just said, I wanted to thank you for, again, for this note. It sits on my desk, my cubicle, and I look at it every day. Fast forward, probably about a year and a half now, I got a message from her this week who said, and it said who, she is the who, but it said one of the partners of the venture firm happened to be by my office and saw this card. It's been there. They've been in my office probably 24 times, but on this particular day, they happened to notice it and asked about it. And she gave this complete download and story about how we first met, how we connected, and that she never expected me to extend this kindness to her and continue the conversation, aside from the fact that we weren't going to be moving forward in a business relationship. And she had sought out my advice one time. I kind of failed to share that, and she told her boss how much it was valued. And she said, I don't know if you're going to hear from my boss, but he said this is the kind of individual that we need to be learning from, that we need to be working with, not from an investment perspective, but maybe figuring out how to incorporate more of this into our space. And I shocked her completely. I said, they don't need to know me. They don't need to know my work. They already have a Rippler on staff. She was just blown away. I was impressed that she took the time to tell me the story. I was impressed that this many months, years since our first interaction and my sending that card to her, she's held on to it and it still sits in her office. And as she told me, many of the colleagues have asked about it, and she tells that story with great fervor, but none of her superiors or the partners within the firm had ever asked about it until that day. And the fact that he did, and the fact that she shared, just blew his mind that essentially a cold call potential investment cold call that they made on my company so long ago had netted out such a result. Yeah, it wasn't the business result they were looking for, but they were very impressed that we had continued the conversation and the ripple of friendship had been started. Why do I share this with you? Well, for a couple of reasons. You never know what these small gestures will yield you in the future. And I can't begin to tell you how often I tell people, don't do it because there's a payoff. Do it because it's the right thing to do at the right moment to do it. And don't worry about how that ripple will return to you. It likely will. And sometimes in unexpected ways. This story is a perfect example of that. This woman and I have created a little bit of a friendship. I'm not going to say she's a bestie. I'm not going to say like if I needed a job tomorrow, I could necessarily depend on her to help make that happen. But I bet you if I said, hey, I have this idea for venture capitalists, for these investments that they make, to create a program to make it easy for the company they're investing in to get acquainted and familiar and feel more trust in the relationships that they're developing with the venture capitalist firm. I bet if I wanted to dry run that or test that or create a program, I have a better than 50% chance of making that happen because I laid the groundwork before I ever made an ask. So I share that with you not because I had that motivation, but that could be a potential outcome. The outcome that I have most enjoyed, however, is getting to know a venture capitalist from the upstate New York area and seeing her career blossom because she was a rippler, she just didn't know it. And I've given her a few things along the way to help make her a better rippler, and her career is just taking off. Yet, as successful and as busy as she must be today, she still took the time to recall this story to me, which was a gift back to me that is not measured in money. It's measured in just heart points. I had to share it. I wanted to share it. You never know what you're going to do today that might result in something down the road in a positive way for you. Keep doing it. Keep casting those stones. Keep creating those ripples. And you may just get to enjoy some experiences like I've gotten to enjoy this week. Until next time, my friends, ripple on.